What's up, guys? So today, I wanted to get on here and talk to you about how to make so much money, it literally offends people. And in order to do this, I have to tell you a story. And this is something that happens to me about once a year, actually, because although my life has changed a lot since a few years ago when I was working a corporate job and still closer to all my old college friends, once or twice a year, I get sort of sucked back into my old life, my old social circle, to go to a wedding. People get married like once a year. So I'll go to these weddings, I'll see a bunch of people that I haven't seen in years, right? And almost all of them, and this is not to shit on them or to belittle them, are still working, their regular sort of corporate salary jobs that they got out of college. And of course, if you've been following me, you know that I went completely left, started an online business, grew a YouTube channel. I'm doing something very different. And I think most of the people there sort of have a vague idea of what I do. They don't really follow me that much, but they know I have my YouTube channel, et cetera, et cetera. And every time that I go to these weddings, I'll sort of shake everybody's hands. Hey man, hope it's good, you and the wife, or you and the dog, whatever it is. And then I will walk off, and every single time, my girlfriend tells me the exact same thing that happens, which is that when I leave the room to go get a water, to go get, I don't know, some type of food, whatever they're serving at the wedding, unequivocally, always these people start talking a bunch of shit about me. And it almost always consists of something along the lines of, oh, he's lying online, or like, oh, he's, not actually making that much money, or like, oh, he's just trying to flex, which is a very funny one because I don't go there and act really showy, the only display of wealth, I guess, would be like me wearing this watch, which is it's not like a RM or some crazy watch. It's a Rolex Day-Date. And the point that I'm trying to make is that all of these people, whenever they see me or really anybody doing anything outside of the sort of like normal prescribed 9-to-5 job that you get indoctrinated into in college, right? Anything outside of upwards of like 120K a year, right? They will do mental gymnastics to explain to themselves and explain to others why it is not possible. They are literally offended by the concept, and they cannot believe that it would be the case. But if you're watching this video, I'm willing to bet that you probably do believe that it's possible to make that kind of money. And I wanted to get on camera today and explain 4 key factors that I used, 4 key lessons that I learned that I believe allowed me to make so much money that it, offends people. So the first thing that you have to do immediately is stop giving a fuck what the people around you right now have to say, what they think. Because as shitty as that sounds, they aren't in the position that you want to be in. And therefore, their opinion is irrelevant, right? Unless you're already hanging out with billionaires, in which case you probably wouldn't be watching this video. And the reason that I say this is because I've experienced it firsthand. And the reason why you stepping out of your comfort zone, you trying things, it doesn't even have to be you trying to make fuck you money. It can be you just chasing a passion, doing anything atypical outside of that sort of 9-to-5, salary job sphere that I was talking about earlier. It's going to piss people off. It's going to make them very, very uncomfortable to see you try, because your willingness to try and step outside of the box reminds them of their own fear to do so, even though they probably have passions that they want to pursue and that they think would be cool, but they're scared. So they don't want to do it, so they don't want to see you do it. But the reality is this, and I've learned this firsthand. Whenever you do have your first modicum of success with whatever it is that you try, those same people who are going to talk shit about you, well, they're going to call you and they're going to congratulate you anyway, which is why the very first thing that you have to do is stop giving a fuck what the people around you right now think. Now, the second thing that is going to be extremely important to making so much money that it offends people, you have to try everything that is unique to you. And I'll tell you a little bit of story about my own life to contextualize why this is the case. So when I was a kid, I always loved music, right? I grew up playing guitar, piano, just creating, right? I was doing talent shows in middle school, all of this stuff. And it kind of got squeezed out of me, like I said earlier, by the time I got older, because I wanted to get my corporate job, and I lost the pursuit of my passion. But whenever I was in my early 20s, like 20 years old, I decided I would start again. I started releasing music online. I was driving around the Midwest United States doing these tiny, shitty little shows. And while that didn't end up being the thing that helped me make so much money, it offended people. Because I was doing this, I met somebody named Brett Malinowski, who was directing my music videos at the time. And I knew Brett for years. And when I was living in Austin, working my corporate job, I ended up flying Brett out to shoot a music video for me. And while Brett was there in Austin, he was convincing me that I needed to get back into crypto, that I needed to start doing YouTube, right? And that same person that I only met because I was putting myself out there and pursuing my passion and walking a walk of life that was atypical, which is what you're forced to do whenever you try things that are unique to you, he ended up being the one to convince me to take the steps that ended up completely changing my life, and that made me end up deciding to start my first business and make my first $1 million online. So whatever that little rabbit hole is that you have, right, that passion that you've stopped pursuing because you think it's weird, that is your thing. And even if it's not the thing that directly makes you so much money that it offends people, it just might be the thing that puts you on the path to meet somebody who tells you something that puts you in that position.
Now, the third step to making so much money that it offends people is destroying your old life. And this is something that you have to commit to doing as soon as whatever you're doing right now starts working. Right? And I'll give you another story to explain how this worked for me. So the way that I broke out of my 9-to-5 job was by learning and absolutely crushing crypto market at a time whenever a lot of people were very interested in understanding this. And nobody around me at my job at the time gave a shit about this, right? None of them cared about it at all. So as soon as I started to have a little bit of success in these markets, what did I do? Well, I started hanging out in these little random niche Discord servers and making best friends with people online that I had never ever met in real life before, ever. And as weird as that might sound, my life completely changed, right? I started a new circle of friends online that I never met before, but all of them shared interests with me. And again, I don't want to sound shitty and encourage you to just say fuck everybody that you know right now. The reality is, people around you right now, like I said earlier, are probably not in the position that you want to be in. So once you get that spark, once you find that thing that you want to chase, it is okay to say goodbye to your current life. It's okay to say goodbye to the people that you currently know, because the reality is 2024, and whatever it is that you start doing that is your initial pursuit to make so much money that it offends people is going to be online. And you can find friends in millions of communities on the internet. Obviously, I run my own for people who want to do the whole crypto thing, who want to go down the same path that I went down, and we link that below all these videos, but this isn't a commercial for that. This is me telling you that you need to commit to the idea that as soon as you figure out your first step on that path, you say fuck everything around you, you let go of your attachment to your current surroundings, to your current people. I moved across the entire United States. I moved to Miami on a whim because I thought that maybe there'd be more people there that I would get along with. And today, I'm in Marbella, Spain, 6 of them, making more money than I ever have in my life. Change your environment if you want to change your life. And understand that the third key is going to be destroying your old life, because it's simply not serving you. Now, the fourth step, guys, to make so much money, it literally offends people. And this one's a bit of caveat. Is to keep your ego in check. And this might be a little bit early to talk about for a lot of you guys, but it's a mistake that I see people where I live in Miami make all the time. And to explain this, I will again, you guessed it, tell you a story. So a lot of kids in Miami that start businesses online get to their first $10,000, $20,000 a month. And they start to follow a very, very similar path, which is that they immediately lease a Lambo Urus. They start spending money at clubs, on bottles. Their whole personality changes, right? They start acting like they are quote unquote rich. They start telling everybody that they are quote unquote rich. And they do this whenever they have their first little bit of success without the knowledge, or rather without the experience to know that what works this month might not work 2 months from now. And that might not work 4 months from now. And whenever you start to blow up your ego and get way out of control in this way, you put yourself in a position to look really, really stupid. because you convince everybody you're rich, and then when what you're doing stops working, which by the way happens to everybody, all of your favorite money YouTubers change businesses and launch new stuff all the time because stuff changes. The landscape changes in online business, right? No matter how you're making money. And again, I know this is a little bit early in a video where we're talking about how to make money in the first place, but I want you guys to know this ahead of time so you don't make the same fuck up that I see so many people making. And what ends up happening after they portray this massive ego is that, well, what they're doing stops working. And everybody still expects him to be Mr. Rich Guy. Oh, he's picking up tabs at dinner. Oh, he wants to go to the club again this weekend. But they're not making the money that they were making before, right? So what you should know is to keep your ego in check, because making 10K a month or 50K a month, 100K a month, whatever's a big number to you, for 1 month is very different than doing it for 3 months. It's very different than doing it for 6 months. It's really different than doing it for a year straight or 2, right? And as a matter of fact, many of the most successful and richest people that I have met, some of the guys you've seen me with in my videos, have the smallest egos, right? And that's because a lot of these people that have actually made disgusting amounts of money have learned this the hard way, that something works, then they fail. It works, then they fail. They get kicked on their ass over and over again so many times that eventually they understand that they have to simply destroy the ego, and that maybe they don't even need to be offended by those folks at weddings that are talking shit about them, because they don't have an ego in the first place. And as a matter of fact, that's why that stuff doesn't really bother me. But I do think it's important. And I do think that if you can do these things, if you can manage your ego, if you can commit to destroying your old life, if you can stop caring what other people think, if you can commit to pursuing the things that are unique to you, you can, in 2024, absolutely put yourself in a position to make so much money that it offends people. When you go to weddings, whatever it is, where you see the people that are your friends now, but if you do these things, will become your old friends. So hopefully this video has helped you out, guys. As always, if you want to be a part of our community, if you want to be a part of what we're doing, you can join the links below. If this video was useful to you, if you enjoyed it, drop a subscription on the channel. And now I have to go change out of these wet clothes, so I can go to dinner. Thanks.